Hello YouTube, it is me, Raina, and I just want to talk about not only the Flash series finale, but the Flash TV show as a whole, especially this final season. So honestly, I did not have high hopes for this season, to be quite honest, because I have been dissatisfied with the Flash since basically the second half of season 6 till now. I mean, there's been a few bright spots, but overall it has been very underwhelming. Um, Eric, who is the showrunner, who took showrunner duties at the beginning of season 6, Eric Wallace, has been really disappointing these last few seasons, and his exit interview really highlighted on why. What I will say that was a positive, at least for the last season and the series finale, is that Grant and Candace, once again, they are amazing. Grant has held this show on his back like no one's business, even when the scripts were just, honest to God, honestly just trash. He held through, he held the character together, and Candace the same way. She's been right by his side and holding the show together also. And their scenes together has always been A plus. No matter what they're doing in their scenes, they always brought their A game to the Flash since day one. And I just love them for it. Most importantly, Candace. If you have not heard my basically my talking about Candace's podcast, I think that happened like over a year ago. You can look at that video and what she has brought. When it comes to television, when it comes to comic book television, especially when it comes to not only women of color, but black girls, black girl nerds, and, basically changing the game when it comes to casting, not just only female characters, but characters in general, taking a chance on characters of color, and also, yes, race bending and giving, that representation that we most desperately need. And you can feel her influence throughout not just DC, but through everything up to now with Little Mermaid. So, she needs her flowers also, big time. And I know she's been through hell and high water with this show. And when she's ready to really spill the beans, like when she's mentally ready, I will be there. But back to the show. I thought the series finale was adequate. I mean, like I said, I did not have my hopes high for this final season. It was going to be what was going to be because it's Eric Wallace. And I got what I got. And honestly, I'm satisfied. Could it have been better? Yes. Did The Flash as a TV show deserve not only a great series finale, but a great final season? Yes, it did. And unfortunately, it did not get that. But I'm satisfied with what I cared about, which was West Allen, and that's all I'm satisfied for. Now, when it comes to the faults of this last season, and basically seasons before, there's been no build-up. It didn't really feel like a final season, because there was not a consistent main villain. It just felt like a lot of filler episodes just to fill the time until we got to the end where Eric Wallace felt like it was a big event series, and honestly it wasn't. And what made these last few seasons painful was the addition of characters like Chester, Allegra, the very just increasing screen time of Cecile and all that stuff. And with, making Caitlin into Keon, that was weird. And when you see the series finale, it was not needed. And upping, her boyfriend, I forgot his name, Mark or whatever, to a series regular, once again, was not useful. Because, first of all, he was kind of barely there when you really think about it. And he offered nothing to the team. And it felt like these random characters who we did not care about, if they still had Cisco there, and even if they had Ralph, and I did not like Ralph at all when he was first introduced. I was kind of warming up to him here and there, but I always felt that he was in a way, even if he was there in the series finale, if it was, Team Flash, Barry, Iris, Caitlin, Cisco, and Ralph were all there, and Sue, I guess, I would have felt the emotion. I would have cared. I probably would have more cared without Ralph being there, but I still would have cared, honestly. But with all these ancillary characters who we did not care about, these supporting characters were not important to us as viewers. They were not important to the show. They were important to Eric because, according to him, if they had a series 10, the show would be based on them. They would have done the thing of like so many other TV shows have done when the main cast, kind of went out of a show and the network or producers want to keep the show going, they will cut out the lead actors and keep it going with the supporting cast. But the major problem here is, even if this whole entire thing with the CW was not going on, this supporting cast is weak. The characters are weak. No one will be watching for this cast. The only people that were watching The Flash to the last minute were here for Grant and or Candace or both. That's it. No one was here for Cecile, Allegra, Chester, and, Mark, whatever, who he is. Those are just some weak characters, terrible, terrible additions to the show. And it was just a dumpster fire every single time an episode focused on them because I cared nothing about them. As I'm watching Buffy right now, I'm in the middle of season 5 and watching how they focus on each character. I actually care. I mean, there's varying degrees of caring when it comes to certain characters, but at the very least, I'm interested to see, okay, what is this character going to do? What's their decision making? How it's going to change this thing? With here, I just did not care. Even in Arrow, I kind of care about the newer characters because they became kind of integral with the show. And, they had a lot of, really interesting storylines, even though the whole Civil War thing was dumb, but at least they were interesting. These characters were not, unfortunately, and they really, Eric really tried, his darndest to jam them down the throat, and it did not work. And the man cannot form a storyline or a story arc to save his life, honestly. Good night. He really does not care about character. He only cares about big events. That's what he cares about. He cares about what was cool in the comics. He's kind of like Zack Snyder, honestly, on a smaller scale. Only cares about comics pages, only cares about, big explosions or events. Don't care about character or, how the characters got to this point and how they're able to defeat all these villains. It was just a mess. But overall, even with all that being said, with all the faults of the Flash, and trust me, there are many faults. To me, like I said, what held the show together for me personally were Grant Gustin and Candace Patton. And they've held me through by the end. So, if anything, I'm grateful for them and for them only. So, what are your thoughts on the Flash series finale? What are your thoughts on these last few seasons? This last season, what the Flash kind of downgraded to? Leave your comments down below, and bye, YouTube.